All right, guys, welcome to WMMA now. WMMA scene report. We're going to go over some news and stuff first, and then we're going to move over into the Invicta FC 32 preview for this coming weekend. So first, we're going to go over some fight results. So last week we had, or this past weekend, Friday, we had one championship, Heart of a Lion, 125 pounds, Tiffany Teo versus Michelle Nicolini. Tiffany Teo won by unanimous decision. I thought Teo did good as long as she got the fight to the ground, which she did in both the first and second rounds. But, man, her stand-up, she was just what's the best way to explain it? It looked like she was afraid to get into any exchange with Teo, which this far into her mixed martial arts career at, I forget what her record is, but she should not be afraid of exchanging with someone this far into her career. And can't even get mad at the ref for faulting her, at least. Actually, both fighters got a yellow card, although I don't think Tiffany Teo deserved it. To get her profile up. So this was Nicolini's sixth fight. She came in at 5-1. You can't be afraid of striking with someone that bad. If not on a big place like One Championship, it's a pretty big. It's a huge platform, and I mean she was just standing there moving forward, but her hands were up, and she's just like afraid. Meanwhile, Teo, once Teo figured that out, she wasn't afraid of Nicolini anymore on the feet, and she just started teeing off. Now, of course, she was hitting the air a lot too, but anyway, Teo won the unanimous decision, mostly due to the third round where she just started teeing off on Nicolini, and then she even got it to the ground at the end of the fight. So good on Tiffany Teo for getting that win. And then moving on to UFC Fight Night in Denver. 25th anniversary event, huge. Well, it could have been a huge event for the UFC. They really downplayed it. I mean, they had, some cool. They brought back the old school graphics. They brought it back the old school logo for the Octagon. But other than that, and the fact that they kept bringing up that it was 25th anniversary, you wouldn't have known. UFC made no big deal about this, which is really a shame, I thought. Anyway, on to the fights. First ladies fight of the night. Ashley Yoder defeated Amanda Cooper by split decision. If I had a gun to my head, I'd have given the fight to Cooper 2-1. I think the story of this fight was scrambles, but it wasn't like scrambles based off of good work. It was scrambles based off of just bad work, some sloppy technique. This really was not a very good fight to show what these two had. I think Yoder's definitely better than this. Cooper, I'm starting to think she's not. Cooper definitely showed that she just has a supreme lack of fight IQ in this fight. I mean, she would take Yoder down, and then she would leave her head. She'd get side control, but then she'd get her head stuck in not a reverse triangle. Yeah, like a reverse triangle or something. It was just all around not good showing for either of these two. I still thought Cooper did enough to win the fight, though. But not a great fight for either of them. Amanda Cooper is probably going to get cut after that. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Ashley Yoder gets her first UFC win. She's going to get to stick around a little bit longer, although she's going to need to really work if she wants to keep staying around. Next fight up was out of the three ladies fights. For me, this was fight of the night. Macy Barber defeated Hannah Cyphers by TKO, ground and pound, in round 2. I'll tell you what, the size difference between these two was really apparent in the weigh-ins and the face-offs. Maycee Barber had a lot of size on Cyphers, but I'll tell you what, you wouldn't think that, judging by the way that Cyphers was not afraid to exchange with Barber. She took it to Cyphers took it to Barber every chance she got. Unfortunately, she got stuck in a clinch a lot with Barber, where Barber was able to benefit from her size advantage. And then in the second round, Barber had her busted up, was able to get her down and GMP her to the finish. Once she got Cyphers to the ground, it was up. The size difference and strength was just too much for Cyphers. But so Maycee Barber looking like a prospect. Cyphers, great showing for herself, coming in on like 2-3 weeks notice. Very small though. I think someone like Cyphers' size definitely makes a great argument for the UFC bringing in the atomweight division. And then finally, at 135 pounds, Jermaine Darandami defeated Raquel Pennington by unanimous decision. Very disappointing fight if you're a Pennington fan. Just not a good showing from her. She kept going for clinch takedowns when she should have realized after the first round that the clinch takedowns were not going to work against a superior clinch fighter. She needed to go for leg takedowns. Other than that, yeah, too much clinch work against a superior clinch fighter with a Muay Thai pedigree. I just thought Raquel did not do very good. Disappointing night for, like I said, for if you're a Raquel Pennington fan. Darandami, however, looked good in the fight. Not the most exciting fight for her, but she definitely cemented that she is in the upper echelon of the bantamweight division. So good showing for her. So that was it for the fights this weekend. As far as fight announcements, let me bring this up real quick here. Another addition to Road FC 51 at 130, I think it was 130 pound catch weight. Another catch weight fight on this card. Actually, it's the only catch weight fight so far on this card. Younji Kim facing off against. Let me bring it up here real quick here. Not my most prepared stream so far, guys. Sorry about that. Younji Kim versus Kim Hae-in. Hae-in Kim's coming in with a 0-1-1 record, 1 loss, 1 draw. Not a very active fighter. Road FC doesn't give her too many opportunities to fight. But whereas Younji Kim is known for the first fighter to beat the former pro wrestler Yoshiko, and she's also known as a victim of King Reina over in Japan. She's a training partner with Ye Ji Lee, who's also fighting on a card. That's about it for fight announcements. Well, there is one more fight swap change. Let me see. For Invicta 32, but I'm going to get to that whole card in a minute here. So, all right, meat and potatoes of this week's stream. Invicta FC 32. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up to the main event. Now, I didn't get the chance to research all these fights like I wanted to. Work got in the way. I apologize for that right now, but I'm going to do the best I can. We have Chelsea Chandler in the, bantamweight. First fight, bantamweight. Chelsea Chandler coming in 0-1, taking on Mitzi Mary. Now, Chelsea Chandler is coming off a loss to Scary Carrie Kennison back in Invicta, whereas Mitzi Mary is an Invicta newcomer, coming in with a 2-0 record. Both of her wins by submission, armbar, and rear naked choke. So it looked like we have a ground fighter in Mitzi Mary. Now that fight, in addition to being on Fight Pass, is also going to be streaming live on Facebook. Next up, at 115, we have the long-awaited MMA debut of well-known kickboxer Isis Verbeek coming in and fighting Catherine Poprocki. Now, Isis, if you follow the kickboxing scene, I'm sure you're familiar with her. Catherine Poprocki is the winner of last month's. Was it last month? Yes, last month. No, excuse me. October 13th, Sparta Combat League Queen of Sparta event, where she had to win a boxing bout, a Muay Thai bout, and a MMA bout all in one night. Now, that was her debut MMA fight, according to Tapology, but she's already coming in well-seasoned after only a month later. So, yeah, it is November, right? Yeah. So that should make for an interesting fight at strawweight. I'm not sure about if Isis has any tournament experience or not. It wouldn't surprise me, being a kickboxer. So moving along, 135 pounds, Stephanie Geltmacher makes her second appearance for Invicta FC. She's coming in on I believe it was a first round TKO. Is it the first round? Yep, first round TKO over Scary Carrie Kennison back in July at Invicta FC 30. And she's going to be taking on Liz Tracy, coming in with a 5-2 record. And she is coming off a unanimous decision win over Sherry Muraski at Invicta 29 back in May. Before that, she was coming to also has a unanimous decision win over 3-4 Susie Watson at King of the Cage. Gonna be my first one I give my pick on. I like what I saw from Geltmacher back at Invicta FC 30. If she gets the takedown, it's going to be Elbow City. I'm going to go with TKO Stephanie Geltmacher. Moving up on the main card at 125, we have a very highly anticipated fight. This, if you're a grappling fan, this is the fight you're coming to see on this card. 3-1 Kay Hansen versus 2-0 Aaron Blanchfield. Hansen, the top control wrestler with really great aggression and ground and pound, versus the grappler Aaron Blanchfield. Why isn't this loading? Hansen is for once Kay Hansen is not, well, yeah, she's slightly younger. She's like 3 months younger than Blanchfield. Both of these fighters are 19 years old. Usually Kay Hansen is the much younger fighter in her fights. 5'3" for Hansen. Not sure on the height for Blanchfield. Both are coming in on 2-fight win streaks. The big question is going to be, whose ground game is better? Is it going to be the aggression and wrestling of Hansen, or is it going to be the jiu-jitsu wizardry of Blanchfield? I'm going to have to go with Hansen. I think she's going to be I think she's going to be too much to handle for Blanchfield on the ground. Just a guess here. Unanimous decision for Kay Hansen on this one. Moving along in the main card, we're going to have the third bantamweight fight of the night. Julia Vila, 5-1, taking on Alexa Connors, 5-2. Both are coming in off of a win. Avila coming in off a TKO win over Ashley Dean back in HD Promotions, looks like. And who is it? Lexa Connors coming in off a TKO win over the Karina Dom, the well-known Karina Dom. You know what? I don't have a prediction on this one. I just don't. Sorry, guys. So moving up to this fight, looks like it got moved down the card a little bit. It was originally supposed to be in the flyweight division. Now it's going to be at a 150-pound catch weight. Caitlin Young coming in with an 8-9-1 record, the former Invicta FC matchmaker. Now she is taking on late replacement Sarah Patterson. Caitlin Young was supposed to be originally taking on Zarafan dos Santos out of Brazil, an undefeated, I believe. No, not undefeated fighter. She's supposed to be taking on dos Santos out of Brazil. Dos Santos has visa issues, so now Caitlin Young's taking on the late replacement Sarah Patterson. 5-4. I'm going to have to go with Young on this one. Coming in on less than a week notice. That's not doesn't spell a good night for Sarah Patterson. So I'm going to go by a decision in this one. We'll go with unanimous decision, Caitlin Young. Moving up in the card again. We're going to have the only atomweight fight on this card. Ashley Cummins, 6-4, taking on Jessica Del Boni, out 7-0 out of Brazil. Now this is Del Boni's, I believe, stateside debut. She's fought for Shooter Brazil, a couple other Immortal, and a few other organizations I don't recognize. Cummins, the older fighter at 31 years old, compared to Del Boni's 25. Let me see what kind of opponents Del Boni has faced here real quick. So, okay, Del Boni has some good wins on her. She beat Bianca Saddlemeyer, who was 7-7 at the time, and she was 2-0. And her most recent win was against Lana Perozin, who was 6-1 at the time. So, but the rest of the record, it looks very typical Brazilian regional. Keeps winning, but not really taking on tougher opponents. I'm going to have to go with Ashley Cummins. I'm going to go with Ashley Cummins by submission in this fight. I just think the experience against higher level opponents is going to carry Cummins to the win. One X factor out of this is that this is Cummins' first fight after moving to California. She's now training out of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu San Diego. She's training alongside the likes of Alima McFarlane, Liz Carmouche. Very good camp for that's pushing out some very good women fighters right now. Although I think she's the smallest one there. But big X factor is how did Cummins adapt to the new environment? She has a new job out there. She's still a cop, I believe, but new environment, new job, new gym. We'll have to see how that works out for Cummins. But I'm still going to go with Cummins by submission in this. Moving along to the co-main event. Strawweight. We have Mizuki Inoue taking on Viviana Pereira. Pereira's coming down to Invicta out of the UFC. She's riding a 2-loss streak. Mizuki Inoue is coming off a loss. Split decision loss to Verna Jandiroba in a title fight for the strawweight title. Mizuki's a well-rounded fighter, so is Pereira. Mizuki's biggest problem is she just comes up short in a lot of fights. Pereira was a little frustrating to watch in her last 2 fights. I think she just did not adapt well when she was facing Yan Xiaonan. It's going to be a tough fight to call. I think they're both going to come in prepared. Both are coming in to get a win. Sakura Viviani, she's been in that spotlight in the UFC. She wants to get back there. Mizuki wants to get her name back out there as well. If I have to guess, I want to say Mizuki, but that might be a little bit of favoritism. I want to say Pereira's faced a tougher competition out of the two more recently. Okay, feet to the fire. I'm going to go with Viviani Pereira by decision. And that moves us along to the main event, the featherweight championship, 145 pounds. Felicia, the Phenom Spencer, coming in 5-0 versus Pam Van Sorensen, 7-2. Spencer's coming in off a strong second round submission win over, I believe, second or third round submission over Helena Kolesnik back in Invicta FC 30 back in July. Sorensen's riding a 2-fight win streak. Also coming in, let's see, she last fought 11 months ago, so she's going to come in with a bit of ring rust, though. Sorensen getting a split decision win over the well-traveled Jan Cuddles Finney back at IT Fight Series. Is that it? So Spencer, more active, 2 fights so far this year in Invicta. Sorensen's coming in, hasn't fought in a year, so this will make for an interesting fight. Spencer comes in with, she likes to throw those high flashy kicks. They're effective, though. They keep the distance until she can get some takedowns in, and then she's a submission ace on the ground. Sorensen, more well-rounded fighter, I would say. If I have to go, these girls are not very tall for featherweight either. 5'5" for Sorensen versus 5'6" for Spencer. I'm surprised by that. Having met Spencer, she seems taller in person. I'm going to have to question Tapology's stats on this. Sorensen's the older fighter, 32 years, 7 months versus almost just shy of 28 years old for Felicia Spencer. I'm going to go with Felicia Spencer by unanimous decision on this one. I don't think she's going to get the finish against Sorensen, but I think that being more active will definitely play to her favor. I don't see her getting a finish on Sorensen, though. Sorensen's a pretty tough fighter. So that's it for Invicta FC 32, guys. So one thing I want to talk about, 2 weight misses at UFC Fight Night Denver this past weekend. Rocky coming in at 128.2 or something. Not a good look for her. Now she had said earlier in the week that she is dealing with hypothyroidism now. I'd like for that to be confirmed by the UFC's doctors before I believe that story. But I do like to give fighters benefit of the doubt when it comes to that. Anyway, apparently her head got freaking scrambled by Amanda Nunes, and now she's dealing with hypothyroidism, which could be legit. Again, I don't know. So it's hard to judge. I'm still not happy. Like, if it was diagnosed in time, she could have been taking medication for it to get her weight under control. Of course, when you're dealing with a weight cut, that's a whole other story. It's hard to say. I'm not happy with Raquel missing weight. And then on the other side, you had Macy Barber came in. Her first attempt, she was 116.5. So that's half pound over the 1 pound weight allowance for strawweight. The Denver Fight Sport, whatever they call it, their athletic their version of the athletic commission, gave her. They said, well, you have like an hour or so to get that extra half pound off. So she did it. Now, I'm not happy anytime a fighter comes in weight, but if you get that extra time and you get to the limit, I'll let it slide. A lot of people are saying, well, how come people are getting on these fighters like they are with Sijara Eubanks? One, neither of these fighters has a history of missing weight. And two, Sijara came in way over and just acted like, oh, well. So, and she had a piss poor attitude about it. Okay? Sijara had a piss poor attitude about missing weight. You know, Macy Barber didn't have a piss poor attitude. She got back in the freaking sauna, got back on the treadmill, whatever she did. She got that extra half pound off. Okay? So she made the weight. She missed it the first try, but she had the second try, so she made it. Okay? That counts as making weight in my eyes. Okay? You get that extra time to make it, you make it, fine. You made the weight. Raquel Pennington, I don't think she's ever missed weight before. So I usually give fighters one try, one chance, okay? Now, if she's dealing with legit medical stuff, she is. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. So we'll see what happens next fight. You know, I'm willing to give every fighter, one chance. But Sijara, that's 2 times in a year that she missed weight, okay? The last time she missed weight, she had to go to the hospital because her kidney shut down, okay? No excuses for missing weight a second time. You're too freaking big for 125, so get your butt up to 135, okay? That's not picking favorites. That's not forgiveness. That's a fighter having a history of this. One other topic I want to talk about, Amanda Nunes freaking messing these fighters up with her punches, okay? So everyone knows Kat Zingano has only been fighting roughly once a year. Well, even before Amanda Nunes. But, she talked in interviews and in documentaries and stuff that after her fight with Amanda Nunes, she couldn't leave the house for like a month. She had a hard time with bright lights for a long time. Just all around, Amanda Nunes scrambled her freaking head, okay? Scrambled Kat Zingano's brain. And now you have Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate was not the same after getting her nose broken and just beat up by Amanda Nunes. Next fight, got her nose broken again and retired after losing to Raquel Pennington. Which then brings us to Pennington, who is now saying that she was severely messed up after fighting Amanda Nunes. And now is dealing with, hypothyroidism. What is with what is in Amanda Nunes' fists, guys? She is scrambling chicks' heads. She is making them not want to fight anymore. Nobody is the same after fighting Amanda Nunes, it seems like. Or nobody gets finished by her. Or just gets really beat up. People are going to say, well, Valentina Shevchenko. Well, Valentina Shevchenko didn't stand toe-to-toe with Amanda Nunes either, okay? Valentina Shevchenko spent most of the time trying not to get hit so she could counter. Totally different. Amanda Nunes is out there scrambling these chicks' heads. Holy crap, guys. Wow. These fighters are not the same. What is in Amanda Nunes' fists? I don't know. People want to talk about Cyborg hitting hard. Okay, let's look at some of Cyborg's past opponents. Okay, let's look at Cyborg since she came into the UFC. Leslie Smith went on to win Fight of the Night against Irene Aldana after fighting Cyborg. Elbow Queen? Lena Landsberg went on, now has a relatively successful UFC career after fighting Chris Cyborg. Donnie Evinger, 0-1 since fighting Chris Cyborg, but she's still fighting and doesn't seem to be taking negative effects from it. And then Yana Kunitskaya fights Chris Cyborg, losing the first round, gets a win in her next fight. So, and then Holly Holm fights Chris Cyborg, loses the decision, comes back and out grapples Megan freaking Anderson. So, on one hand, you have Amanda Nunes scrambling chicks' brains with her fists. Chris Cyborg helping fighters have UFC careers. Who hits harder? I don't know anymore. You know? I mean, people want to talk about Chris Cyborg just destroying chicks. Amanda Nunes is literally messing up people's health. Okay? Literally breaking chicks. Is there really a comparison right now? So, what does this mean for their fight coming up next month in December? I don't know. I think it means that Chris Cyborg is going to do everything she can to avoid getting... I don't think Chris Cyborg is going to want to stand toe-to-toe with Amanda Nunes. You know, a lot of people saying Nunes doesn't want to stand toe-to-toe with Cyborg. Cyborg doesn't want to get hit by Nunes if knowing that she scrambles chicks' brains. I think it just makes the fight... I mean, you really look at this, it just makes the fight that much more interesting. At least in my eyes. I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comments, in the chat. No one's watching right now. So let me know in the comments. What do you think? And then last topic I want to talk about. Rose Namajunas. Still missing in action. Well, she was at UFC Denver supporting who had trained with her. Was it Macy Barber? No, Ashley Yoder had trained at the same gym as Rose Namajunas coming up. Now she's saying she doesn't want to defend until spring. Like possibly March, even late March. Like, really? When was her last fight? It's 7 months right now. Let me see. Looking this up real quick here, guys. Last fight was April. So you're talking 11, 12 months between a title defense. Now, people are saying, well, she has, the neck injury. I don't want to hear it, okay? I don't want to hear it. When you have other champions that are dealing with injuries but are getting called duckers after 4 or 5 months of no defense, we're at 7 months already, guys. 7 months, Rose Namajunas, no defense, no legit timeline, no date set, okay? That's at least a timeline for a return, but it's a freaking year. A freaking year. Meanwhile, you have all these other contenders knocking each other off. Andrade knocked off Kovalevich. You have Claudia Gadelha, who's a legit title contender, having to face Nina Natsarov, waiting for a fight. Tatiana Suarez is up to number 4 right now, is a legit threat to Rose Namajunas. No idea when she's going to fight next or who. I think the best fight to make would be her against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, but Jędrzejczyk's fighting Shevchenko at 125 next month. Might not even return to 115. Who knows? So all Rose is doing is taking time off and letting these contenders fight each other. I mean, it's smart, but that's not a warrior. That's not a fighter to me. That's not a warrior. That's just taking the easy way out, Let all these other contenders fight each other off, and then so you can say, well, I only got one contender, so I'll just fight them. And then if she wins, she's going to what's going to be her next excuse? Well, she already used the excuse. Well, there's no clear-cut contender. She used that, I believe, not long after she beat Joanna the second time. There's no clear-cut contender. Yeah, there was. It was called Jessica Andrade. Jessica shouldn't have had to fight Carolina to get a freaking title fight. She earned it by really just destroying Gadelha in that unanimous decision win. she made Gadelia look bad. Like no one had made Gadelia look bad before. Okay? So I'm still firmly on the defend or vacate camp for Rose Namajunas. Defend or vacate. Set a freaking date already. Anyway, guys, that's it. I hate to end this streams on negative notes or bad notes. So on the bright side, we have Invicta coming up this weekend. What else is there this weekend? Let me grab my board real quick. All right, so Bellator 209 is Thursday in Israel. Now, that's not airing until Friday night. That's Cindy Dandois versus Olga Big Bad Olga Rubin, I think her name is. Friday, we have TFC 19. Co-main event is a women's strawweight match between Yedam Saw versus Jian Saw. No relation. LFA, I believe Sabino Mazo is defending her title, and there might be one other female fight on that card. Invicta 32, and then you're going to have Bellator airing. I believe that's when Bellator is actually airing on DAZN and Paramount. And then Saturday, you got Ultimate Fight Night 140. Let me see who's fighting on that one. Sorry about this, guys. I'm not. That's Cynthia Calvillo versus Poliana Botelho at strawweight. And then you have Combate Americas. We're going to bring that one up real quick. That's Combate 26. You have atomweight fight. Irene Cabello Rivera, coming in at 8-5 versus Yajiro Romo. I believe that's the girl they call it's Chocolate. Should make for a pretty good fight. I think it's Irene Rivera's toughest fight in a while. Parky's on that one. That's a guy fight, so I won't go into that, but Korean fighter I've been following for a couple years, for quite a while now. So we do have quite a good weekend for women's mixed martial arts coming up this weekend. So way to end it. So glad to end this stream on a high note. Guys, that's episode 6 or 7 now of the WMMA Scene Report. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments down below. And hey, if you're watching this and you haven't yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene now, the fastest growing women's mixed martial arts platform on YouTube. Guys, that's all I got for you. Have a good night.